On the 26th of August 1676, Sir Robert Walpole was conceived, a man who might become not exclusively England's most memorable top state leader, yet in addition the longest-serving state leader in English history. Walpole was brought into the world in Houghton, Norfolk, the child of Robert Walpole Sr., a Whig lawmaker who served in the place of Hall, and his significant other, Mary Walpole, an individual from the nobility, little girl of Sir Geoffrey Burwell of Rougham. He came from a high-positioning, significant family with political connections that would demonstrate imperative for his future profession. The youthful Robert Walpole went to a non-public school in Norfolk and in 1690 entered the regarded Eton School where he acquired a superb scholastic standing. With his great insightful qualifications, he made the normal movement to Lord's School, Cambridge, fully intent on turning into a pastor. Walpole anyway had to re-examine his arrangements. When on the 25th of May 1698, subsequent to hearing news that his final senior sibling Edward had died, he passed on the school to assist his dad with dealing with the family home. Just 2 years after the fact his dad passed on, passing on Robert the replacement to the whole Walpole bequest, which included 1 villa in Suffolk and 9 in Norfolk. A tremendous obligation regarding a 24-year-old, barely out of university. Fortunately for Walpole, he had a lot of business sharpness as well as scholarly expertise, and while he was still extremely youthful he had purchased shares in an organization which had an exchanging syndication with South America, the Caribbean and Spain. The South Ocean Organization, as it was known, was an English business entity utilized for paying off the public obligation. Sadly, fast hypothesis on the business sectors outgrew control, with everybody needing a slice of the pie. With the offers expanding, organizations were sent off in a free-for-all of movement which at last closed with the financial and bubble and bursting. The coming about South Ocean emergency was a monetary fiasco which hit Europe, causing languishing over numerous who had put resources into this endeavor. Luckily for a youthful Walpole, his privately invested money stayed in one piece and developing, as he had been purchasing from the base and selling at the highest point of the market, permitting him to significantly build his riches. His financial premonition permitted him to build the excessive Houghton corridor, which can be visited today. Structure started its development in 1722 and was finished 13 years after the fact. The house was involved by Walpole to have various gatherings for the Norfolk upper class, while visits from eminence were likewise typical. At the point when he turned into a lawmaker and in the end top state leader, he would frequently have gatherings with individuals from his bureau, which became referred to at the time as the Norfolk Congress. The gatherings were held in extravagant environmental factors, as Houghton turned into the ideal home for Walpole's immense craftsmanship assortment, including works by Rubens, Rembrandt, Van Dyck and Velázquez. Walpole's political profession started not long after his dad's passing, simply a year after the fact. Truth be told, in 1701, when he won his dad's past seat as MP for Palace Rising. The next year he passed on his seat to address rulers Lynn, a body electorate that he would hold until the end of his political profession as a delegate of the Whig party, equivalent to his father. Only a couple of years into his political vocation, he was named to be an individual from the board to Sovereign George of Denmark, Master High Naval Commander, by Sovereign Anne herself. He was a significant delegate character, accommodating the distinctions inside the public authority with his appeasing methodology. His scholastic abilities, joined with his political level-headedness, ended up being extremely valuable, and he was immediately perceived as a resource for the Bureau. One of those that distinguished his abilities was ruler Godolphin, who was the head of the bureau and who was keen on involving Walpole in a favorable position and thusly named him secretary at Battle in 1708. Sadly, his developing impact was sufficiently not to prevent the Whigs from indicting Henry Sacheverell, a clergyman who taught enemy of Whig messages. His mistreatment by the party was incredibly disliked with people in general, and affected the following general political decision, with the new service falling under the authority of conservative Robert Harley. Walpole was at first made offers by Harley to join the Conservatives, however immediately rejected, accepting the job as one of the most significant of the Whig resistance. Walpole's unmistakable quality in the resistance acquired him a ton of foes, and he was subsequently blamed for selling his administrations of force and being bad. The charges prompted his arraignment and possible detainment in the Pinnacle of London for a considerable length of time. His ejection from Parliament saw him as a sort of saint to the reason, and upon his delivery he composed numerous handouts which went after the service supervised by Harley. By 1713 he had been reappointed for Lord's Lynn with his public prevalence re-established.